Test. Test. Good morning, everyone. How you doing? This is Jason with E7 Forge. Gonna work on Hell mode for Ethel. I've already beaten it a couple of times with a couple of teams. I'm trying to find one that is more reliable, so I'm doing one that I was working on this morning, and we've been working with GPT on it, so got some good advice from it. We'll go over that, but let's just take a look at the team that we came up with, right? Bear with me, let me get the client up. There she is, and we can get rid of that. So this is who we're running. Assassin Cartusia at level 50. Wanda, she's +8 and 6-star, then lots and Mandy. Like, there's a lot of mechanics in this fight, so we'll just talk through those. And again, a lot of that was just picked up and kind of discovered and worked around by talking with GPT and going back and forth on troubleshooting. So that's what we're going to do. I'll show you how we did that. But let's go ahead and take a look at the fight and see if we can get a clear on air. I have cleared it multiple times, so it's not like it doesn't clear. Something important to note is we're going to lean on Archie here because Archie fills up quickly, and when you use a Guardian in these fights, if you have the proper Constellation bonus, then this goes down 50%. The higher this goes, the less damage she takes. I think that's how this works. Yeah. Okay, so we need to avoid Constellation getting to 100% because of the changes next to the formas. But then you have this Blessing of the Stars mechanic or Essence of Life mechanic where if this goes down to 0, then your character instantly dies. So the only way you can prevent it from going down is by evading an attack. Every time you evade an attack, this goes down 10%. Assassin is here to help with that evasion. And then you want to keep these guys provoked because when they hit you, because they can hit you often and cause that ticker to go down. So he provokes also. We're just trying to build up souls right now and deal damage to Ethel while we can while she's at 0%. Because when she's at 0%, I feel like she takes more damage when she's at 0%. So yeah, the longer the fight goes on, the longer or the tougher she gets. But Yeah, see, his S2 helps with evasion a lot. And then we use his provoke to keep them off of their ability. We use, lots for CR push damage and for heals, because, well, lots is lots, and she does lots of things. We're at 100 energy, so we're going to go ahead and pop. So then we have Archie up, but we don't need to use them because by using a Guardian, it'll drop this by 50%. So we're going to save that for until we need it. So let's just pop damage on her while we can. Keep provokes up on these fools while we can. Again, we're saving the burns. We don't need to heal anyway. So just try and hit Ethel. Alright, so see how he's still at 5 right here on Essence of Life. He just got hit twice by these formas. Had they not been provoked, they would have used an ability that would have knocked this down once each time. So like I said, read right there, it says at the end of someone's turn, when this effect reaches 0, unfailingly dies. Now, I had Cartusia res automatically last battle when that happened, so that's something to keep an eye out for. But ultimately, you want to avoid as many attacks as you can, so you can keep the counter for Essence of Life up. And I just want to call out once again, a lot of this information. I mean, obviously you can read it all in the fight breakdowns and whatnot, but we try and do things more organically and, well, digitally, right? Organically with the digital personality, anyway, but, by working back and forth with GPT, that's kind of our whole spiel, right? So now we are going to pop Archie because Constellation is getting high. So you can see it drop to 0. Everyone's still at 5. So that was a wonderful crit. Oh, we missed the provoke there. That's unfortunate. Halfway there, folks. Let's see if we can do it. Nice hit. W. There we go. We got the other provoke up. Other provoke up. Let's get a big smackdown. Look at that. Beautiful. Get the CR push. And we got there. Let's get the provoke again. Let's get the damage. So see, she went down to 4 now. And you diss it. And you know what? Let's go out with an M-effing bang. There you go. So easy clear. This was a frustrating fight at first, but by working with GPT and getting a better understanding of the fight and fine-tuning and switching characters, parties, and tactics, we got there, right? So if you think about it, sorry, saw something. That's a natural process you can do yourself without GPT, right? You can test and look at the mechanics and you know, try and figure out of your hundreds of characters, you know, what's going to be the best fit, and that stuff is great, right? Like that's part of the beauty of the game. But we are using GPT to help us do that, right? To help us do it more efficiently, to help us make smarter decisions. Sometimes we make dumb decisions, whatever, but overall, it does help us a lot. So let's take a look at how we did that with GPT. I love that I got 2 more points, because, yeah, originally I had, well, no, because I've beaten it on hell already. Anyway, but just so we're clear, clear, right, like, we have cleared everyone on hell mode, using this process, and for each of these fights, you will get free downloads to guides like this that I'm making for each fight, and they'll be in the descriptions for each of these as free Dropbox downloads. I'm not asking you to give me, you know, to buy anything, subscribe to anything, nothing like that. Just trying to help the community out, right? Let's take a look at what we did with Ethel and GPT to get us there, right? Because there was a lot of back and forth. So here's the deal. So I had already, so here's a little TMI, right? Or not even TMI, a little history. You know, I had built this this process with GPT on my main account a long time ago, and it was a lot of learning effort processes, refining it and everything, right? And so I ended up having to delete that project because it had gotten way too big, it was using too much memory, was very long in the tooth, and I wanted to start fresh. So I deleted the project, but that means I lost the threads where I actually did the original wins, which is fine for this fight because ultimately I won with this fight in a much easier manner than I did with the previous team, and we got to both teams by working with GPT. But so I'm telling it I'm going to give it some input, and here's where it gets interesting, right? Like whenever you're doing this, well, I have a whole video that I'm putting out that shows you how to do this, right? But essentially, notice those are MP4 files. Those are video files. So all I did was literally go into the client, go into the fight, take a screen recording of this screen, all the mechanics, right? Constellation info, trials info, and uploaded that video to GPT, and it breaks the videos down frame by frame, and it did its analysis and was like, all right, bro, here's what's going on with the fight, right? Core fight identity, talking about the energy loop. So remember, 0% constellation is energy, is important. So it breaks down skills you need to pay attention to. So I, unlike what you will do most likely, right? You can do what I did. I already had a team put together because I had done this earlier, right? And I was telling GPT, hey, this is the team I used. Let's recreate a strategy with it. And as I was doing that, I was like, this team is just not even doing it right. Something's just not right. And I think what may have happened is, I'm not going to, whatever. But right here, Ethel failed.mp4. Let's see if I can find that video. Yeah, it's right here. So, like, this is exactly what it looks like, right? Like, it's literally just a recording of the fight. And, we don't need to watch the whole fight, whatever. I can just point out a few things why this team just doesn't work. BWI is ineffective. Cameron's fine. Wanda's the only one that really belongs there. FCC is great, right? Like, it's really, Cameron's probably the weakest link there. I'm sorry, BWI is probably the weakest link there. But, like, I took this video and was like, hey, tell me what's going wrong. Very clear, the run, right, it lost because the team ran out of essence of life counters. Now, this is what I was talking about during the fight, right? That counter that goes down to 0. If it hits 0, you die. So, it's like, alright, here's what we did well, here's what we did wrong. There was some confusion on my part whether or not Provoke was actually stopping the pharmas from reducing essence. So we've kind of moved away from that for a minute, but so I was clarifying a few things, and then I was like, I wonder if Lots is here, better here, because she brings recovery damage and tempo. So it's like, yeah, definitely we're testing. Maybe better for auto. Ultimately, we didn't do auto anyway. But the big upside is she does lots of useful things without needing a perfect idle cycle, right? Tamarin is great, but she does have that dance party you have to dance around, right? So this was again invalid. I don't know why we got there. I was just seeing some, because like I was reporting what I was seeing, and it looked like it wasn't doing anything. So we backed off some things, and then I went through this thing. All right, give me some workflows, give me some flow charts. What can I do? Like, if this is happening in a fight, then what am I supposed to do? How am I supposed to react? Whatever. So I started, telling it more of the problems, and then I was like, and then I was telling him, hey, you freaking made up abilities for BWI, right? Like, what is this black sheep's burden? And it's like, yeah, right, my bad, basically, right. So then it got the names right. So here's the corrected flow it gives me, and then it's like, why are they not evading often enough? And so I'm like, yeah, that is the question I was kind of expecting you to answer. And sometimes GPT does this, right, where it's like, yeah, that's a good point. What we should really figure out is X. And I'm like, yes, I asked you X. So why are you telling me we need to figure out X? So whatever, that happens. So here we start talking about just flipping the team around, and the recommendation it came up with, right, wasn't really doing, like, the write-up they gave me didn't even speak to the question once again. And it's like, you're right, let me stop being stupid. How do we force missing and higher evasion? And it gives a few ways to possibly do that. Right? Team-wide evasion support. That is the key to what we used for victory, right? So that's what Assassin Cartouche is there for. So here I was getting frustrated. No one's evading. Formas ignore provoke. But I was wrong about that. Formas do not ignore provoke. So that was just some confusion on my part about the formas that ultimately we cleared up. And then I'm like, why do you keep recommending BWI? She seems utterly useless here. So, sometimes you just have to tell your GPT model, hey, this is not working. Stop, right? And that's what we did here, right? So then ultimately it's like, let's come up with a different team. So let's start thinking about different prompts. It's like, look, I've got a run recorded. Let's take a look at it. And then we did that. We broke it up over 3 videos because videos files can only be up to 512 megs in size. Then it, breaks down exactly what went wrong, and what we could change. And then I'm like, well, am I supposed to kill the formas? And we tried that, and I was like, well, killing the formas is not an option because they take shit for damage, so it course corrects. It recommends some swaps, and I wanted to keep testing. So then my contact with Assassin Cartouche helping here, but that was before the provoke issue cleared itself up in my head. So ultimately, this is the key, right? Kill Ethel before the Essence clock. But the team we landed on, let's see. Where did we get Andy from? Yeah, so this is the strongest recommendation right here. And this is who we went with, right? And at the beginning of the video, that's the group that we ran with. We got a super easy clear. And, you know, we found that group by just a lot of back and forth with GPT, and that's the entire point of this, right? Don't just take what it says by, you know, rote acceptance and, you know, give it feedback, right? Give it as much input as you can. And ultimately, you know, if you are banging your head against the wall on fights like this, you know, you can find your way out of it. So, you know, hopefully you can find that victory. If you have any issues with your own GPT setup, if you'd like some assistance with that, you have any questions, feel free to hit me up at E7Forge on Discord. I gotta get to work. It's been a fun morning. We got the light video down. All that's left is shadow, and